gentlemen, Punt Pals, where the game begins. Betting on sports with our expert spins. From football fields to courtside drills. Punt Pals Podcast, we pay the bills. Punt Pals, no big and play. Join us now every sports day. Tips and pins that never fail. Punt Pals Podcast, set yourself.
Hello and welcome back to Punt Pals Podcast. It is Robbie and Nick for another week of punting. Hope everybody across the week has been tipping winners. If you've been listening to us, then there's a good chance you have been. G'day, my name's Robbie. This is Nick Ristovic. How are you, buddy?
Great, man. Always good chatting to you and talking through the punt from the weekend. For those who haven't listened to the podcast before, Robbie's living the rockstar lifestyle at the moment. Mr. Premier, the Grand Prix expert, the long-time suffering Essendon supporter. Robbie Bond, always good to catch up with you, mate.
Thanks, mate. I like that you slipped in long-suffering Essendon supporter because it's very true. And as a Dockers man, you're in similar areas to me, except for in 2026 where things are looking on the up. You must be up and about at the moment.
Well, you've got something in the trophy cabinet we don't, mate. So you've got one on the mate.
That's true. That's true. 16 of them, I believe, actually, if we're going to get into that. But, you know, I'm living in the past, but I'm happy with it right now. Anything is better than the present if you're an Essendon supporter.
That's it, mate. The present's been very, very good to us and from a punting perspective, hasn't it, mate? Because we had an absolute perler of a weekend. This podcast is going to be one of massive celebration, really.
100%. And do you know what? Usually we ease into this, but today we just have to dive right in. The $100 to $1,000 challenge. We've been doing this, what is it, going into round 10. We've been doing this since round 2. We've had a few ups, a couple of downs, but it's mostly been on an upward trajectory. And Nick, we finally got there.
Oh, mate, it's just absolute elation, isn't it? I mean, many people tackle the $100 to $100,000 challenge. And we said to the punters very early on this year, follow the Punt Pals podcast. We're going to win you some money this year, and you should be $900 richer just for listening, really, ain't it?
100%. And to give you the rundown, we started off really well. We won the first couple of weeks, and we were just flying. We thought we're going to do this in 5 weeks. It's not going to be a drama. I had a loss. You had a win. I had a loss again, I think. It seems to be a common trend here. I lose and you win it back. But finally, it was my go on the weekend. I had $200 I had to play with to get us to 1,000. And Nick, it's happened. Wharfie time got us there.
Wasn't it? Mate, I mean, the Brisbane Lions leg, to run through it quickly, $1.09, no problems at all there. Bit of a push late, but they were comfortably home. Melbourne pretty comfortably home in that last quarter. And then Freo, mate, they looked all at sea until Wharfie time came on, didn't they?
They really did. And the $1.69 odds that we did get before the weekend were looking to be pretty true. It didn't seem like Freo were going to be able to get it done, but that last 4 minutes, bang, 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 unbelievable. And, mate, what a last quarter of footy. Luke Jackson was the hero. He got us over the line. We have $1,000 in the kitty here, Nick.
Yeah, well, I'm not quite sure what to do with it yet. So we're probably going to have a little bit of a powwow on where we go next with the challenge. But there'll still be plenty of great tips and multis on the potty today and plenty of winners hopefully again for this weekend. Because we had a few good multis over the weekend, didn't we?
We really did. We both actually flew in the multis. Before we get into that, though, and I don't know if this is going to be one that we have a think about during the week or if we're ready to roll on it. But I think we need a new challenge, and we'll bank the $1,000 and we'll start from 100 again and see where we can get to. It has to be more than 1,000 this time.
Well, I think it's going to be enough to cover us for some flights and accommodation to the AFL GF, mate, if the men in purple are around the mark, because the flights are getting expensive and I can't really dip in to the old bank account at the moment with 2 kids. So it'd be nice to win our way there, wouldn't it?
That would be absolutely magnificent. I tell you what, though, we're going to have to win a bit of money because the way the Freo Dockers are going, fans have been flocking to the airlines, and I think it is pretty expensive to fly across to Melbourne that weekend. So we're going to need to be up there around $5,000 at least, I reckon, for both of us.
Well, I think so, mate. But the way we've been going, if we just up the stake a little bit, which we're pretty comfortable in doing, we're mostly $10, $20 punters for those listening for the first time for the potty, but with this challenge, we've been laying the $100 and $200 bets at pretty short odds, and it's been a winning formula for us. So if we can continue that run, mate, I think we might be halfway there across a Nullarbor already.
Love that. All right, so are we going to aim for $5,000 for the next challenge?
I reckon we go for 5, mate. We turn 1,000 into $5,000, and obviously a few punters that listen that are riding the challenge might even have to join us, mate.
All right, the $5,000 challenge. I love this. This works, Nico. So let's lock that in for next week. Before we do get into all the other betting, though, because we just had to highlight that. It was magnificent. What's cracking at your end? What's been going on in the world of Nick Ristovic?
Well, Thursday night win to Freo really set up the weekend beautifully for me. I had the multi on the same night for the podcast at $4, which saluted. Went there with the boys. Wolfie time came on, as you articulated earlier on, and we just went bang, bang, bang. And the weekend just flew from there, mate. Best ever atmosphere I've ever seen at a game, and that certainly set us up on the home front. We had, obviously, the mother-in-law head back to New Zealand on Saturday, so we're dealing with the two kids on our own, which has been a bit of a baptism of fire, but it's all going well on the home front, mate. The Rugrats have been locked in with a new gate I put on the front driveway there, so that was a big job, concreting, putting a huge gate up, trying to pretend to be a tradie when I'm actually an office guy, and
Look
mate,
out.
got a few multis home. So it was a bloody good weekend, mate. But not as good as yours from what I saw, because you were living in luxury, weren't you, at the Crown there, mate?
I really was. So a couple of weeks back, I did that UFC event where I hosted the Volk and a couple of other guys. And my payment for doing that was to actually go and stay for a couple of nights at Crown Towers there. So me and my wife, Alana, cashed that one in over the weekend. We had a little staycation at Crown. And boy, oh boy, was it awesome. It was just like a really relaxing weekend. But the beauty of it is, like, we all love going down south or going to Broome or whatever, but there is travel time. Whereas we just jumped in an Uber, 20 minutes, we're at the hotel, and then at the end of the weekend, 20 minutes back. So there was lots of relaxation time, mostly spent it around the pool, which was sensational. A couple of cocktails, a nice dinner out, and gee, I tell you what, it was luxurious. It was very, very nice, Nico.
Well, for those who didn't see Robbie's socials over the weekend, there was a picture which went viral, mate, of you just with the rig out in the bath watching the footy on the TV. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that, does it?
Bit of a thirst trap, wasn't it? No, it was a bit of fun. I just thought it'd be a bit of a funny picture. The best part is a few people pulled me up as to why I had a towel on my head. Because, you know, when your wife would do this, I reckon, when she's, drying her hair after doing the shampoo, it's a whole ordeal when your other half does her hair. She always puts the towel on her head. So I just thought it was a good
mate.
prop, just for the picture.
When you're at Crown, mate, you get the old robe out as well, don't you? Get the towel on the head. You're just living in luxury, 1,000-thread cotton sheets. And, I mean, you just live it up, mate, really, don't you?
You've got to do it. You've got to just live it up. Do you know what the other thing that happened to me? This morning, I went to log onto my Facebook. I've been banned. I don't know if it was because of that picture, but I've literally been locked out. I have to appeal it.
Indecent exposure, mate.
It could have been. I would have thought they'd be worse on Facebook than that. But anyway, my nipples weren't for public consumption, clearly.
Well, at least your OnlyFans page will spike now, mate. That's all right.
Yeah, I'll be putting a lot of work into the promotion of that now. So it's all good times, mate. Should we get into listener questions? What do you reckon?
Yeah, we've got a couple of crackers, and mate, I'm going to kick off with a couple for you because there's a couple of really nice little juicy ones in here for you. Terry from Dunsborough. 6 months have now gone by since the Merritt saga. Dare I have to take you back there, mate? Would you trade him for 2 early first rounders if the Hawks came knocking again at the end of the season?
It's a bloody great question, and I feel like the Hawks or someone else will come knocking for Merritt. He can't be happy with the way the Dons are going. He just can't be. There hasn't been any improvement yet. I mean, the signs are there, but, he's not going to play in a flag for Essendon. Let's put it that way. So I feel like someone will come knocking and he's going to show a bit of interest. The problem with the 2 early draft picks is that the way all the priority picks, and then you've got the what are West Coast going to get this year potentially? What are they called? Not priority. Compensation picks. That's the one. And then you've got the academy picks and father-sons, which I know that's all changing, but still it pushes you down. So last year when we had the 3 picks on the table from Hawthorn, they were all going to be in the late teens. It's not as good as it sounds.
No, not good enough, mate. It's got to be surely 2 in the top 10 to just, even entertain it.
Exactly right. So I don't know. I think they'd have to stump up a player. We'd need a player. Like, we've got so many young players at the moment that we can't afford to give away the experience. So I would not want to see them trade him. No.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And if he's not going to be there in your next premiership, though, you've got to think about your list rebuild. You need those senior players for experience, but you do obviously need to get those high draft picks before Tassie come in, right?
That's
get
true.
harder and harder.
That is true. The problem is I just don't think they're going to be that high. And do you know what? I think when you've got a group of young midfielders, you do need that older gun to drag him along. Like, you look at West Coast. Harley Reid's doing all the grunt work, and he's great, but how much better is he when Yo's there? Like, we need that player.
No, exactly, mate. And I think, to be honest, if Andrew Walsh hadn't come out last year and said we're unequivocally not trading Merritt, probably would have opened the door for maybe the Hawks to kind of trade their 3 picks up for a couple a bit higher in the draft order, and maybe it could have got done. But you have to say, mate, where you're at, it makes a lot of sense, really.
It's an interesting one. I think it's a definite watch this space.
Yeah, futures markets, mate.
Futures, exactly right. Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what happens. Yeah, I don't know. It's so annoying when you see other teams who are like destination clubs, and then you've got Merritt wanting to leave the Bombers. It sucks. Mate, I've got one for you, by the way.
Hit me up.
So, Jules of Heathridge, I think this is a really interesting one, actually. You might have seen the reports during the week that Paddy Mills is the favourite, or Wildcats are the favourite to snag him next year, and they're putting forth an offer and everything. Will it happen? Do you want it to happen? What's the chances of this?
I think the chances are moderate. You can't. It's definitely not a banker. You'd say the Wildcats are going to secure Mills services. He's obviously got connections in the East Coast, but in terms of a list fit, he shoots the 3 ball very well, which is an area we kind of struggled since Bryce Cotton moved on. Obviously, we've got Pepper and a couple of others that are pinch hitting in the space, but Paddy Mills is an elite 3-point shooter. He brings that NBA experience and leadership, and more importantly, from a marketability perspective, I think having Mills back in the league in the twilight of his career could do a lot for crowds, sponsorship, all those types of things. So I think the Wildcats would be keen to make it happen. A lot of water to go under the bridge yet, I think, and they have to stump up a fair bit of cash, I think, for him to continue playing. Whereas Sydney and Melbourne seem to be those destination clubs where those NBA players on the back end of their career, Dellavedova is a good example. There's a couple others heading back this year tend to land. So we might be a sniff, mate, but I wouldn't be banking on it yet.
Interesting. You would love to see it though. It'd be great.
Yeah.
It'd be amazing. It'd be such a little rock star thing for the Perth Wildcats to get. What else we got here, mate?
Oh, Tommy from Osborne Park's throwing one in here, obviously ahead of Pendle's milestone game on the weekend. Where does he sit, Robbie, in your greatest AFL players? Is he top 5? Is he top 10? You know, people interested in who are your top players, and potentially running through your top 3 as well as you talk after Pendle's.
Oh, wow. This is a big question. Do you know, in complete honesty, might be controversial. He sits outside the top 10 for me. I don't know exactly where he sits, and he's one of the modern day greats, but no, I don't think he sits in the top 10.
Yeah, it's so many different criteria to measure. It's a tough question, Tommy.
Yeah.
But, obviously longevity-wise, he's right up there.
Oh, he's right up from a longevity perspective. I mean, he's, as of next weekend, going to be the greatest. But I just think if you look at like the all-time greats, the absolute goats of footy, Gary Ablett Sr. is going to be right up there. And I mean, if he's not the greatest, his son Junior might be right there just above him or just below him.
Yep.
Lethal Lee Matthews, Carey. Like, there's all these guys that are just the absolute classic players. I think to put Pendles in the top 10, and history might look at this different, I think he needs a couple of years of retirement, and then we'll be able to sort of place him a bit better. It's hard when he's still playing.
No, you're right, mate. You're right. Where Premiership's obviously up there too. You know, some of those guys like Voss who played in 3, they're pretty highly regarded. So it's a tough question. It polarises people, obviously, doesn't it? You tend to have your own home team hat on when you look at that top 3.
Yep, and I always think it's interesting comparing players across generations, probably more than ever now. Like, I don't know, John Coleman, for example, he kicked, I think it was about 700 goals in 99 games or 500 goals or whatever it was. So you've got these guys from bygone eras that were just insane in their time. So it is very hard to rank them all. But for me, Pendle's not quite there yet. You've got, what's your top 3?
Oh, definitely Gaz Ablett's up there, probably top 2. Wayne Carey, no doubt. And then I'll probably look to the multiple Brownlow medalists in there. Obviously, I've got my purple hat on with Nat Fyfe. He's got to be in the top 5 there somewhere for me. But yeah, premiership success for me is definitely a key critical element to my, sort of top 3, top 5. You've got to be in there, played well on the big stage for me to rate you highly. So Gary Ablett, Wayne Carey, those types definitely sit firmly at the top 3 there, mate.
Love it. Now, finally, this is from Gav of Yelling Up. This is for you, Nick. You've been spending a lot more time at home since you've had the second baby arrive, the Rugrat, as you called him before. Any Netflix suggestions? Because I assume you're watching a lot of TV these days.
Yeah, outside of the footy, we have the sort of the take a breath moment when both kids are in bed at night. And we've been watching a couple. There's one called Dark Winds, which I really like. It's about a reservation, Indian reservation in the US, obviously. And they're the local sort of Indian police. And there's a lot of kind of conspiracy going on, people trying to build casinos on the land, and that's quite cool. And another one, Man on Fire, not the movie with Denzel Washington, but the series. Watching that at the moment, I'm 3 episodes in and absolutely enthralled in that. So they're the 2 I would steer towards at the moment. And outside of that, just usual documentaries we like, mate. Coast Watch, which is about the fisheries in New Zealand, tracking down illegal fishers. We love that.
Nice.
For a bit of a curly one. And but yeah, Dark Winds, mate, and get on board with the Man on Fire. They're the 2.
Interesting. There was not one X-rated suggestion there. You've changed, man.
That's the OnlyFans account, mate.
Oh, that's gold. All right, mate. Should we have a look at the heroes of the week for this week?
I can be your hero, baby. Don't be a hero, mate.
Heroes of the week.
Yeah, this is the time where we acknowledge those superstars who have done amazing things across the week. And you've been pretty active in this space this week. I gave it to Scott Pendlebury last week, but controversially, you're going back-to-back here, Nick.
Well, I just felt like it'd be a miss if we didn't mention him at least.
Bit of a giant.
We've got the 2 there. We've got Pendles, obviously, needs another run, but I've got another one to throw your way as well, if you like.
Please do.
Mitchy Marsh, the Bison. Don't we love him?
What a man.
He's obviously he's sort of tipped himself out of international cricket at the Australian level in some forms, and he's really a short form game superstar now. And he's obviously seen what he's done for the Scorchers. Explosive batsman, but on the weekend scored a century in the IPL to get his Super Giants over the line against the reigning champions. And mate, he's hit it off 56 balls, so not the shortest ton, but he's facing an attack, a bowling attack, including Josh Hazlewood, and really, that's pretty impressive. So a ton for the Bison in his late years now, still doing it at the top level, and just love the homegrown heroes, mate. So Mitchy Marsh goes in there.
Very well done, mate. I think that is just such a great call as well. He is a superstar. He's got an excellent mullet. He's a great West Aussie boy. Do you know what? That is an amazing hero of the week. So well done, Bison Mitch Marsh. Beautiful. Well done, Nico. You've nailed that, I reckon.
Oh, well, I searched far and wide for these, mate. We've had a bit of women's cricket in there. We've had some international T20. We spread far and wide.
That is exactly right. That's what Punt Pals is all about. As we jump into last week's betting, now, why don't we jump into yours first? Because my week was a weekend of unluckiness other than the $100 to $1,000 challenge, really. How did you go?
Well, I mean, the $1,000 challenge was the main event. Everything outside of that was just a nice to have. I had a pretty good weekend, mate. I went pretty short on 2 multis. I've been toying around $5 to $7 and missing by a couple of posies, as most would know listening to the potty. And I sort of went a little bit further from the sun at $4 for my 2 multis. One in the Freo game, which was done and dusted in the third quarter. And the other one was the Suns game, which lobbed pretty easily early fourth. So 2 multis, both collects at $4, clean sheet. Was fairly good, but mate, there's always one that lets us down, and that was my absolutely atrocious racing multi of no legs saluting. Bustling was a bust. Came first up in Melbourne. Prior to Jenny destroyed the field in the Hollandale, which I had half yours in, and then Malatia came second over here in WA. So there were two place getters and one horse which finished outside the top 3, but. Yeah, I'm never betting in a Pride of Jenny race ever again, mate. She's just so hard to read, and she strings them out, and she'll either win or she'll destroy favourites in races that try and catch up with her. So that's the lesson on the punt for me. So good in the footy, terrible in the racing.
It's tough, isn't it? It's heartbreak there. Mate, I'm going to tell you right now, my weekend in the multis was an absolute weekend of heartbreak. So it started off with the Freo Hawthorn game. I took the multi that you put, which was Sarong 21 plus, Brayshaw 20 plus, Bolton 20 plus, Impey 20 plus, Amon the same, Clark 19 plus, and Reid 18 plus. Now, that was good. You got that up. Congratulations. Paying $4. I was betting with PointsBet, and they wouldn't allow me to take Clark at 20. Oh, sorry, at 19. So I had to take 20, but I thought, you know what? He's been racking them up. That's fine. I'll just get a couple of extra cents. No dramas. As you can tell from that groan, what did Jordan Clark get?
19, of course.
19. So I lost me cash.
Yeah, that was tough, mate. And to be fair to you, the ball was in Fremantle's forward half for the entire second half of the game.
Yeah.
Jordan Clark stayed like a man possessed. And then, obviously, they started winning clearances out of the middle, Freo. And, obviously, they only polled on 2 goals, Hawthorn, in that second half, which is sort of pretty underrated stat there. So he didn't see much of it, did he?
He didn't see much of it at all, and it was just bloody, it's one of those things. He played a good game of footy. You can't be angry at him, but it was just bad luck. I'm more angry at PointsBet. But then my other multis, get a load of this, right? So I had Brizzy versus Carlton. It was a $3.25 5-leg multi. Got all the legs except for Will Ashcroft. I had him at 25 plus he got 23. Then I went to the Giants and Essendon. I had the 25 disposal mega multi. So I had six legs there, and the only one that didn't get up was Lockie Ash with 24 possessions. So I've missed 3 multis by 1 leg and even 1 possession half the time. So I did fix myself up a little bit. Richmond and Adelaide, it was a 5-legger, $2.75. Nice. I got all legs. You can check out all those multis on the Instagram as well. So
Instagram's been popping, mate. Wayne Malera, he's playing like a man possessed too. He's had 30 plus, I think, his last 3 games. He had him for 20.
Yeah.
Pretty much had it by half time, didn't he?
Yeah. Where's he come from? He got 34 on the weekend, and he's just playing some really good footy. It's good to see.
Well, I reckon old mate Wangani Malera's just said, hey, make sure you give our surname the due justice it deserves. And he's just stepped up, hasn't he?
He has, man. It's a good way to look at it. I think Wangani Malera's he's out injured at the moment, isn't he? So
3 weeks with the calf, mate. So he'll be a sad admission for the Saints. But that was a great result. And pretty much for punters, really, if you're covering your bets, with at least one of these multis getting up at $3, you're playing with the house money on the rest. So it does pay sometimes to put them all on ahead of the weekend. That was the latest game of the round, the Richmond Adelaide Crows game. So if you'd stopped at, say, the GWS Giants and Essendon game after that 1 possession loss, you probably would have missed out on the chockies to cover yourself. So definitely go on Instagram, definitely load those multis on earlier on a Friday or early Saturday so you get the odds, and definitely sort of stick with us because we do tend to pull one out, don't we, on a Sunday quite regularly.
Sunday seems to be the day for us. You're absolutely correct. So that's where you go on to be with us. Go the Sunday, and geez, just go, if you like one of our legs, just go 1 disposal under, and you're probably going to get it as well.
Yeah. Well, mate, you need to be, I know you're doing a lot of work for Tab Touch, but you might need to be a green tab at the moment. You're 1 possession short. You would have been paid out in that Thursday night game.
I know. I might have to make the swap. It's just, who can be bothered? You know what I mean?
You keep across them more, mate. But yeah, Thursday, Friday, sports bet, any legs fail is usually pretty good value. But if you want to win, sometimes you got to take those green tabby ones, mate.
Yeah, that's actually right. I might have to do that this weekend. A bit of variety, bit of spice of life. Let's get into this round of AFL games, and I think we'll tag team back and forth on the games here, mate.
Mate.
Do you want to kick it off with Brisbane and Geelong?
Yeah, Brizzy Geelong. Brisbane, they just seem to pull it out at the right time of the year. So they're going quite nicely, obviously. It's the grand final rematch. Brisbane $1.45, Geelong $2.76. And both sides are sitting evenly at 6 wins, 3 losses. Brisbane had a late scare against Carlton last week, which Carlton are just a hard team to read. They can be poor in the second half, good in the first half. They flipped the script this time and almost got the jockeys. But, they were 49 points up, Brisbane. They were pretty much coasting at that point. So, Lockie Neal got the medal with 33 disposals and a goal. He's had 30 plus in his last 3 games and been very solid. But yeah, Geelong are a pretty hard team to read at times as well. Obviously, they've beaten some probably better sides than Brisbane, you'd argue, so far. They beat Collingwood by 54 points, who've been a reasonable nick. And Bailey Smith just continues to rack them up. 40 touches last week. And I think this one is going to be a precursor to what's occurred later in the finals, I think. So tough game. I think Brizzy at home, probably, Robbie, but you wouldn't rule out the Cats. They're when their back's against the wall, they tend to get these wins, don't they?
Well, it's very true, and they can get it done. Same as you, though, Brizzy, for me, I think that feels like the right pick for Thursday night footy. Sydney Collingwood, mate, this is an interesting one. So we've got a double header for Friday night, which I personally despise. I reckon it's terrible. Like, surely they can fit another game on Sunday or something along those lines. Anyway, but here we are. So this is Friday night, SCG. The Swannies paying $1.21, Collingwood $4.45. And this is, for me, almost like a forgotten game for Collingwood. It's like they're really looking towards the Scott Pendlebury record game next week. They've rested Pendles. They're coming in against the ladder leaders, Sydney. And I just feel like they're really not putting much into this game. I mean, it's probably different behind closed doors, but it's almost like something they need to get out of the way so they can move on to the next thing. Sydney coming off a tough game against North Melbourne. I thought the Roos were really good last week. I wasn't actually, to be honest with you, I wasn't watching it on TV. I was following on the app from the poolside of Crown Towers, but I saw how close it got. And Darcy Moore, I don't know. It just feels a nothing game probably isn't fair, but I don't think they have a lot of heart in this. So Sydney at $1.21, I think they win that all the way, mate.
Yeah, hard to disagree with that, mate. One thing I'd say about Sydney is look out for them at home. They play that ground so well, and Collingwood's weakness has obviously been their back line for quite some time now. The lack of key position depth down there's hurt them, and you can absolutely suggest that the likes of Amati, Big Charlie Curnow, obviously our homegrown hero McDonald's now playing. So they've got 3 or 4 tools which will stretch Collingwood, and I think Sydney will pile on a bag here.
Beautiful. Gold Coast and Port Adelaide. This is another Friday night in Darwin, actually. What do you reckon here, Nico?
Well, Gold Coast just play so well in Darwin, don't they?
They do.
They've won their last 9 games in Darwin at TIO Stadium. It's a bit of a wet, sort of almost humid affair up there, which sort of can be a bit sloppy sometimes when teams aren't used to it. So an interesting stat for the punters out there. I think the slippery ball can mean a few missed shots on goal. The Suns kicked pretty inaccurately from some spots last week. 13 goals, 11 with some really easy shots they missed. And the Saints kicked 8 goals, 12, including some sodas. So I'm looking at markets for players to kick points in this game. I think Gold Coast will get the Chockies head-to-head. But if you're building a multi, the usual types, Ben King, those types to kick goals, but also players to kick points as well. I think have a look at those markets because they do pay quite a fair bit.
Yeah, that's a really good call as well there. I think it'll be an interesting one. Gold Coast just seem to be the Darwin specialists as well, so I'll be taking the Suns on that one. As we move to Saturday, Adelaide and North Melbourne, it's actually a little bit more of an interesting game than what we would have thought originally because North Melbourne, they really took it to Sydney last week. Adelaide are in decent form at the moment. They're paying $1.39. The Roos, $3.04. Now, Adelaide have won 4 of their last 5, and they sort of come into this with a bit of momentum. After that amazing showdown win the other week, like that was just for me the game of the year so far. North Melbourne 4 and 5, they're inconsistent, but when you look at the ladder, they're sitting a lot higher than what we would have sort of thought at the start of the season. Whether they can carry that through, I don't know. That's a big question. We're only at round 10. I've seen in the past North Melbourne be 11-0. I reckon this was back around 2015 and not make the finals. So I wouldn't be putting that in the bank yet, but they're playing some good footy, so I think they will take it to Adelaide.
I couldn't agree more, mate. I think the Crows are just limping along at the moment. I watched the game last week. It was probably the only game I got to watch, which was good because your multi obviously got up. But a couple of guys we had in the banker category last year, Riley Tilthorpe, he's just not having the year that most would have hoped. He looks a little bit injured. He's not kicking straight, which is normally he's a dead eye. So I had him in for 2 goals in a separate multi last week and kicked 1 goal 4, I think, or 1 goal 3. Looked injured. So for me, Adelaide are flying under the radar a little bit in terms of underperforming or where we thought they'd be. And I think North Melbourne, young players, a lot of momentum going into this game. I think they're going to push them at the line of 3.5 goals. So I'm pretty keen on the Roos at 18.5 point head start here. I think it's going to be a very close game.
Love that. Melbourne and Hawthorn. This is Saturday Arvo, 2:15. The D's paying 304. Hawthorn 139. Now the Hawks are coming off that rough loss against Fremantle when Wharfie time just destroyed them last Thursday night. The D's, man, they're playing some pretty good footy this year. They're up and down. They're inconsistent still, but they are way ahead of what we thought they'd be doing.
Yeah, D's for me are the danger side. They have beaten our multis a couple of times this year, and Hawks coming off that tough road trip to Perth, pushed pretty late in the game, obviously, and ran out of gas. So will they come into this one a little flat? I kind of like the D's, but in terms of betting, I'll probably one insight I'd like to share with the listeners is Carl Amon and Jarman Impey are absolutely on a heater. I can't believe teams don't put more time into these two left footers off half back for the Hawks. Amon's had 30 in his last 3 matches, does take the kick-ins, but kicks long and they can kick over the top of that next line and get out through the back with the likes of Watson and others. So he's been good. Impey loves to beat up on the weaker sides as well. He's had 25 plus disposals in his last 6 matches versus sides lower than the Hawks on the ladder. So they're going to have to put some time into these half-backers, I think, Melbourne. And going forward, Cozzy Pickett, Jacob Van Rooyen, these types are really coming on for the D's this year. So I think they're a red-hot chance here, mate, even though the Hawks have been very good. That Perth road trip makes it tough.
Oh, coming home from Perth, it's always, as you say, really tough, actually. A lot of teams do not win on the bounce back. So it's a really, really, really good opportunity for the D's to have a good win against one of the season leaders. So I personally am going to take the Hawks, but you just never bloody know.
Nah, mate, I think it's going to be a bit closer than most think. A bit like that North game versus Adelaide. I think those two are kind of borderline games which could go both ways.
Yep, 100%. We're going to move on to one of the most interesting games of the round here. As we know, Carlton have lost their coach in the last 2 days. Michael Voss has resigned from the Blues, probably a bit more of a forced resignation, I would have thought. But still, he got to make the move, which he'll be very happy with. They're taking on the Western Bulldogs at Marvel Stadium, I believe. Saturday, 5:35, Saturday night footy. The Blues, 256. Western Bulldogs, 151. And something I wanted to go into with you here, Nico, is a bit of research I did yesterday around the new coach bounce, is what I've called it. So essentially, the water cooler chat starts straight away because we go, all right, who's coaching next week? And generally, whoever is coaching notches up a win in their first game after a coach leaves mid-season. So it happens a lot. Does it happen all the time? That's the perception. It's about 60% of the time. Of the last 10 times the coach has left mid-season, Nick, we've had 6 wins and 4 losses the week after. So there you go.
It could happen, mate. I think, just quickly on Bossy, that the assignment they gave him when they traded out Charlie Curnow, they traded out Kennedy, obviously, to the Dogs who they faced this weekend. He built his whole entire brand around contested footy, and they got rid of probably 3 or 4 of their fringe players, but were good contested ball winners. So that list to me is the issue, not the coach. So, I mean, I love the stat, but I think that what Fraser's got to deal with in terms of cattle on the field and the Bulldogs' enormous record at Marvel, they've won 13 straight at Marvel as the away team. Obviously, Carlton being home this weekend tells me that. Sorry, Josh Fraser. I think the Dogs at $1.50 the value, and I think everyone's perhaps looking at that first coach record and thinking that Carlton is somehow a chance.
Well, I was actually sort of making the point that I don't think they're as likely to win as some people are saying, because 60% is pretty close to 50%, right? So we've got the perception that it happens more often than what it does. And I personally think as well the Bulldogs should get it done this week.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think that whole list, as I said, for Carlton, they're at the crossroads. They're talking about trading Cripps, potentially the end of the year, Wiedering, trying to get first rounders for those two. The urgency in trade currency at the moment with obviously Tasmania coming in means many teams are kind of thinking, well, if we've been sitting on the fringe with trading some of these guys that won't be in the next premiership, probably now's the time to do it. So that whole Blues side, I think, is going to look vastly different come round 1 of next year.
With absolute respect to Cripps, he's one of Carlton's all-time greats. He may become an all-time great of the competition. When we sort of look back over a few years, I don't think he really has any trade value anymore, just for the simple fact that he is sort of getting a little bit old when it comes to midfielders. So he's a good player. He'd be really handy in a West Coast side especially, but you're not going to trade a lot for him because you're only going to get 1 or 2 years out of him, and that's just unfortunately the reality of the situation.
Yeah, that's very well said, mate. You're absolutely right there. I think it's got to be a club that lacks inside contested footy beasts, and I think West Coast is the only one here in WA. He'd be too similar to a Sarong or a Brayshaw, I think, for me, Cripsy, but I still think he's got a lot of good footy left in him at the right side.
I think if you're Crips, you're wanting to go to Freo though, right? You're not leaving Carlton to go to another cellar dweller. You're leaving to try and chase a premiership as well.
I think so,
sure,
mate, and probably or get a 3-year contract somewhere where you're only going to get 1 at Carlton or 2. So I think you'll be in it for the money as much as the premiership status. And I'd struggle to see him in a Freo jumper. I just don't think they'd really want to mix up that midfield too much, given the way it's going at the moment.
Fair. Oh, well, time will tell. End of year, will we see Cripper in WA? That is a big question. Now, mate, let's move on to what we wish was the game of the round. I mean, really, I wish that I could sit here right now and say, mate, we're going to take it to the Fremantle Dockers. The Dons are going to sit here and they are going to go under the line at least. We'll probably beat you, all these things, but I cannot say one. I am really scared about this game. I reckon your Dockers are going to absolutely decimate the Bombers this weekend.
Yeah, we traditionally don't win by massive margins, I would say, mate. I think Essendon have fired a shot in games through various quarters, but they've probably had those lapses where teams can pile 6-8 goals on them quickly. I don't think Freo are that sort of side. So whilst I don't think the Dons are a chance of beating Fremantle, I'd be a bit reluctant to be taking Fremantle, at the line of, I think it's 30 plus 38 points, or even Freo 39 plus. They're not that sort of side, and I'd be surprised if it was a 60, 70 point blowout, to be honest, mate, which you might be thrilled about.
I'm actually very happy to hear that. Thank you. Thanks for saying, Nick.
But the last time we played you guys, Big Dogger Jackson kicked 3 up forward, as did Joshy Tracy. And again, Ben Mackay has been the much maligned key position back for you guys, but you don't have a lot of depth outside him. So I think the big forwards of Freo are the ones to watch.
It is an interesting stat, and Ridley's the key for Essendon. When he's in the team with Mackay and also Reid, we're a different side, man. We quite literally win most games. They really do make a difference. Ridley's still out, so yeah, I think the tall forwards are going to be very dominant this week.
What about Tom? Well, Vossi loves lining up against his former side and proving you guys wrong too. He might be one to bob up too.
Oh, that's true. He's been a bit quiet lately, so it might be his time to really get bullheaded.
I reckon he might be, mate. So that's going to be an interesting game. It's a watch for me. Probably have a multi around it, which I'll go through later.
Sunday, 11:10. Yeah, it's probably a bit early to catch up for a beer, I suppose, which is a bit unfortunate.
Never too early, mate.
And you have a few kids in tow, so I think you might struggle to get to the pub.
Nah, I wouldn't have thought, mate. Nah, not after working Belmont all day Saturday. I think I'll be on home duty Sunday.
St Kilda Richmond Marvel Stadium. It's this Sunday, 1:15. For me, I'm not that interested in this game, to be honest. No. I won't be having a punt on it. Probably won't watch it, but yeah, I don't know. Do you have any thoughts you want to throw in there?
Nah, not really, mate. It's a bit of a dead rubber, to be honest. Richmond are plucky. Saints missing a few key players, obviously, with Wangani, Malera and a few others out, but should get it done, you'd think. If they don't, I reckon there's going to be some big heat on the Saints, who were spruiked pretty heavily at the start of the year, bringing in some quality players from outside of their list and other teams, but haven't really lived up to the hype for mine. They're still an also-ran sort of team for me.
Yep, agree with that 1,000,000%. So we'll move on to West Coast and GWS, the final game of the round. I'm headed along to this one Sunday, Arvo. Why? I don't know.
Carrying the trophies again, mate?
Could be carrying the trophies again. My buddy Alex invited me along, and I thought, why the hell not? West Coast at home at the moment are not a scary proposition for any team. We thought they were going to really show Richmond what for and, give them a bit of a lesson. That didn't happen. So I can't see them beating GWS. I think it's going to be a really tough afternoon for West Coast, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think so. And the only games that I see West Coast really have a sniff in are when they meet midfields that are a bit light on, i.e. Port Adelaide. They're probably in that mix. But yeah, GWS Giants, obviously adding Clayton Oliver, some quality in the off-season. Lockie Ash goes through there. They're going to be dominant through clearance, and I think it'll be played in the GWS half, and I expect their forwards to kick big bags. Jesse Hogan's one to watch. He's been quiet lately, but this might be one where he comes back to his home state and kicks an absolute bag, mate.
Hello. Yeah, the Hogs loves Optus Stadium. We saw State of Origin, he kicked 5, so it'd be great to see him there, and hopefully he does kick a bag, because in my preseason multi, I had him for Coleman medal, and he's not looking that way at the moment. So if he could kick 30 against West Coast, that'd be nice.
He's got that navicular foot injury, which they're limping him through the season. I wouldn't be surprised if he's playing under some duress, but those guys around him, Cadman in particular, he's had a really good few weeks. Even Toby Green, I think, kicked 3 last week. He'll bob up. So I'd be structuring a GWS little multi around some goal kickers there if I was playing at home.
The CAD. Yeah, I think you're absolutely correct here, mate. Now, we're going to get into our AFL multis. These are all go up on the Instagram, so not going to dwell too hard on these. But I'll rip through a couple for you first, mate. So basically, I'm going to take one for each day, essentially. So Thursday night, Brizzy and Geelong. I've got a 5-legger there, 278, featuring Holmes, Neal and Bailey Smith all to get 25 plus, Levi Ashcroft and Tanner Bruin 15 plus. Game 2 Friday night, I'm taking the Swans and Collingwood, a 6-legger, paying $5. There's a little bit more variety in here. Dan Houston 6 plus marks, McInerney 14 plus handballs, 20 plus disposals for Mills and Crisp. Dacos 25 plus and Sam Wicks 15 plus. So I'm going a 6-legger there.
Justin McInerney's flying under the radar. He's right up there in the top 5 stats in most categories of the AFL league-wide at the moment. I can't believe the bookies are still offering the odds they are for him. Just don't think he has the name or the notoriety, so not many are backing him, so the odds remain pretty consistent. But $1.42 for 14 handballs for McInerney seems overs for me.
Huge. Love it. And you're right, he's been a real surprise packet this year. Mate, on Saturday, I'm taking Melbourne and Hawthorn, another 6-legger. Jarman Impey, 16 kicks. He's dominating this year. He's picking up so many posies.
My man, love him.
You love him, don't you? He is your man.
Yeah, I'm all over him. Yep, I'm all over him. They set up well off half back there, the Hawks. He's the man they run everything through, as well as obviously Carl Amon, so he'll be prominent.
Harry Morrison, Tom Sparrow, Maxi Gawn, all 15. Jake Bowie and Jarman Impey, 20 plus disposals there as well. And that's paying $3.60. And finally, our game, Essendon and Freo, a 7-legger here. Going for goal, $3.95. I've got Murphy Reid and Darcy Parish, both 20 plus. Wagner, Jackson and Durham, 15 plus. Archie Roberts and Zach Merritt, 25 plus, paying $3.95. All those are up on the Instagram, mate. I don't know. I do like Essendon as a disposal side in the multis as well. They don't win much, but they win well when it comes to disposals. So
yeah, absolutely, mate. Yep. And I think the only one I'm probably worried about is Zachy Merritt at 25, but he gets there quite regularly. He just has the off one every 4 or 5 games, doesn't he?
Yeah, especially when they put him in the wing or back flank or something like that. But when he's in the middle, he dominates. So we'll get him in there for 25. He'll get it done.
Yeah,
what do you got going on this weekend, mate?
I'm going to go with a bit of a different approach this week because we don't have the challenge. We're setting it up for next week's potty to get to $5,000. I'm going to go with a head-to-head multi here. I think the Swans will be too good for the Pies in Sydney. I think the Suns will beat Port pretty comprehensively in Darwin. Dogs will beat Carlton at Marvel. Their impressive record there at $1.51 looks like the overs market for me. Freo to beat Essendon, and then the Giants to beat West Coast, $3. That's probably where my save is going to be for the weekend in terms of backing all your multis with that $3 collect that hopefully comes through. And then, mate, I've got a bit of a weird one. I love a goal kickers multi, as you know. I've got Suns versus Port, Benny King 3, Mitch Georgiades 2 plus for Port, D's versus Hawks, Cozzy anytime, and the Wizard Watson 2 plus. Freo versus Dons, Tracy and Amos 2 plus, very easy that one. And then, as I said, I think that West Coast GWS game, Cadman 2 plus, Toby anytime, and Jakey Waterman 2 plus. He's been in good nick, just can't really finish. He's had a frustrating year. So those essentially 4 games, and you've got 8 legs there. It's $16 for that goal kicker multi across the weekend. So they're my 2. And then the last one is obviously the Freo multi. I'm starting to get a bit of a good read now on Freo these possession markets. I think Sarong 22 plus, Bolton 20 plus, Murphy Reid, your man 20 plus as well. Sammy Durham had a very good few weeks. He's averaging
Does
21 or 22 plus, 18 plus for him. Freddie, who kicked 3 last week, I'm back on him anytime for him at $1.36. And then Amos 2, Young, anytime at $1.42. Hayden Young, he obviously kicked that goal late in the Freo game, but he played probably 40% of his game in the front half. Was unlucky not to kick goals in that first half of that Freo game. So I think $1.42 for him to kick a goal seems to me like overs because he's not doing it regularly enough. But I think he's going to start to play a lot more good footy through there as he works into the season after that early season injury. So he's one to watch. So I'll put them obviously all up on the Insta page. And if you do get a win with us, guys, obviously comment and throw in your bet sleeves, tell us how much you won and just get around it.
Let us know. Hey, I'll tell you what, you mentioned Young. His snag from the boundary on Thursday night was elite, by the way.
Oh, mate, if he's going inside 50 unopposed, he's going to find someone. And if you go to sleep on him at 50 metres, he'll kick one from 55. He's just such a good user. He's the difference, I think. Him and Murphy Reid between last year and this year for Freo. I can't talk highly enough of either of them.
Yeah, well said there, mate. Well said indeed. All right, let's move on to racing because, do you know what? We've sort of been a little bit quiet on the racing the last few weeks. I think Ascot's been happening, but it's kind of sort of been just ramping down in the lead up to Belmont. So, I'll tell you what. It's an exciting weekend. Nico, you've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes, and finally we're in a spot where you can launch Belmont, absolutely launch it, and there's a lot to talk about with it.
There is, mate. Yeah, finally we have a track or a facility that is befitting of a Metropolitan Racecourse in the $8 million renovation of Belmont. There's 9 races there on Saturday. A lot of trainers have been holding back their horses for that Belmont track. It's going to be perfect. It'll suit all runners and generally very, very good to punt that first 3 Saturdays. I've had an absolute fill-up the last few years punting at Belmont, particularly early doors. And then feature is obviously the Drum and Golf Belmont Sprint in race 8. You've got Petula, Rockanori, Earthstorm, Schnitzelate, all familiar names throughout the Pinnacles. They'll be coming back and doing battle. So it looks like a good race. But, mate, it's going to be a vibe. Obviously, 9 bars, free entry, the super screen in action there on the infield, and then those 2 big screens inside showing the footy. I'll be working. I'll be hosting a few of the owners and the big dogs down there. And I'm just excited to go back there for a change, whereas in prior years, obviously, those winter days are pretty tired, dark old venue. It's completely different this year, so I'm pumped for that. Over East Coast, mate, not to exclude the feature races over there. Flemington, we've got the Andrew Ramsden, which is a 2,800-metre race in race 7. And whoever wins this race goes straight into the Melbourne Cup. So there's a few to watch out of this race in terms of futures markets, and I'll go through the tips for that later. And then at Doomben, we have the Doomben 10,000. Jimmy Starr, another wheel, grafter burners. This is that kind of last, I guess, Group 1 feature of the autumn, and it's attracted a quality field. So with those races in mind, mate, I've got essentially 3 tips for you. 2 tips in the Doomben 10,000. You've got to go with Jimmy Starr, the top weight, $3. He's the highest rated horse in the race. I prefer him at 1,400 to be fair, but this field at 1,200 metres looks like a pretty good assignment for him. And the other one I followed pretty heavily is Grafter Burners. It's a bit of a temperamental horse. It sometimes blows a start, but at $9, I can't jump off. They're the 2 in the Doomben 10,000 for me. And then to finish off, mate, we used to love that show with Lockie Reid and Tim Gossage, the Western Front, didn't we?
Oh,
Did you ever catch that back in the day?
Yeah, bloody oath. Does it still kick around on a Sunday, or is it done now?
Mate, no, she's wound up a fair bit. The old Western Front hand sign does get thrown out the footy. But in the Andrew Ramsden, there's a horse called the Western Front for the Hayes boys. It's won its last 2 at 2,400 metres, 2,500 metres. Last start it won by 2 lengths going away from it. It looks the good. So I'm going to have something on it, and I'm going to have something on Changing of the Guard, the Melbourne Cup horse. The odds aren't out yet, but they're the 2 I'm backing in that race. And then Jimmy Starr and Grafter Burners in the Doomben 10,000. So no multis this week, but 4 horses to have a little crack each way on, and you should get out in front, I reckon.
Beautiful. Absolutely love that from you, mate. And good luck with Belmont this weekend. I'm really excited. You're going to be in the High Flyers room. What are you up to?
Nah, mate, I'll just be roving around. Obviously got a lot of new bars and restaurants opening up. So it'll pretty much just be kind of down there working operationally to make sure everything runs smoothly on Saturday. We've got a brand new owners and trainers area as well, which is moved down from that downstairs area you and I used to work occasionally, Robbie.
Beautiful.
That'll be up on level 1 behind the glass. So lots going on. Pretty excited about it. I'll be pumping it up in every media channel possible over the next few days. And yeah, if you're looking for a beer on Saturday, get down to Belmont and come watch some footy and watch some live racing with me.
How bloody good. All right, I'll be listening into SEN. What is it, Friday or is it tomorrow?
Friday, mate. Friday morning, I'll be on the show with Belly and Goss in the morning, just pumping up that big screen and trying to get a few people through the gates.
Look at this guy. Don't get too big of a head. We need you back here on the podcast, mate. Don't be thinking you're going on to bigger and better things.
Nah, mate. Might even throw a few tips out there. Give the Punt Pals podcast a shout if I'm allowed to do so. So we'll see how we go.
Oh, yeah, actually, throw it out there. I love that from you. Love that from you. All right, Nico.
Potty, mate.
Well,
Been
mate.
awesome.
Have a great weekend. Good luck to all the punters. Really looking forward to getting some of those multis up. We'll be here again next week. Enjoy your weekend, big fella, and we'll do it all
Thanks,
again.
mate. You too. Hopefully get that Facebook account reactivated as well.
Oh, man, I'm going to do another appeal now. Just reach out to me on the phone, thanks. Traditional media.
No worries, mate. I'll hit you up. Have a good weekend, everyone. Good luck on the punt, everybody, and also gamble responsibly if you're having a punt with us. We love the punt, but make sure you do it within your means.
Gentlemen, the Punt Pals where the game begins. Betting on sports with our expert spins. From football fields to courtside drills. Punt Pals Podcast, we pay the bills.